Hello there and a very good evening. You're watching Primetime News coming to you live and direct from our Newsfirst studios here in Colombo. For the Newsfirst team, I am Rochelle Tumodra. Let's start off the look at your headlines for tonight.
Newsfirst headlines. Main sponsor.
A trusted place for your fixed deposit. Valuable FD, a symbol of stability.
Sri Lanka emerged runner-up at the 2024 Asian Netball Championship for the fifth time. MPP sweeps Alpitiya Pradesh Sabha election with victory in 15 electorates. Publication of Gazette with names of Pradesh Sabha members postponed till names of bonus list nominees are submitted. The group with experience who should be sent to Parliament are with me. A statement from former President Ranil Wickremesinghe. Although NPP candidates are new to Parliament, they are not new to politics. President Anura Kumar Dissanayake responds. Prime Minister assures that drug-linked political culture will be ended.
Newsfirst headlines. Main sponsor.
A trusted place for your fixed deposit. Valuable FD, a symbol of stability.
Starting off your bulletin with some sports news tonight, Sri Lanka emerged as the runner-up of the 2024 Asian Netball Championship, losing to Singapore 67-64 in a double overtime heart-stopping final in Bengaluru today.
The final of the 2024 Asian Netball Championship between the two powerhouses of Asian netball took place today between 6 times champion and defending champs Sri Lanka and 3 times champion Singapore. This marks the 7th occasion that these two teams have faced each other in the final match of a tournament. A large audience, including former Sri Lankan netball player Tarjini Sivalingam, watched the thrilling match. By the end of the first 2 quarters, Singapore managed to take a slim lead with a score of 28-27. In the third and fourth quarters, the Sri Lankan players mounted a strong challenge against the Singaporean team. At full time, both teams were deadlocked at 52 points each. During the first extra time, both teams continued to showcase their outstanding sporting skills against each other. The first extra time ended with the match still deadlocked at 59 points each. In the decisive second extra time period, the Singaporean players finally secured victory, winning by a score of 67-64.
And that is it! Singapore are your Asian netball champions! They have done it! And after 10 long years!
That's right, they had to wait for 10 long years. They can see those emotions, those tears going through the eyes. The crowd is absolutely stuck.
Champion of 13th Asian Netball Championship, Bangalore, Team Singapore.
In other sports news, the finals of the Emerging Teams Asia Cup between Sri Lanka A and Afghanistan A is currently underway in Al Amarat. Winning the toss, Sri Lanka A opted to bat first. Batting first, Sri Lanka A is on 133 runs for a loss of 7 wickets at 20 overs. We will be back after a short commercial break.
Gammadda, improving lives, elevating communities. Constructing essential bridges that connect villages in Ampara, Dehiyattakondia, in Rithi Maliadda, Badulla. A new bridge will improve daily travel for over 600 residents in Koleyaya and Aldenia. In Mahayangana, another bridge will provide critical access over the Unagala Oya, meeting the needs of local families. Committed to connecting communities and fostering progress across Sri Lanka. Gammadda, Sri Lanka's most impactful rural development movement.
For the people, by the people. Gammadda.
A trusted place for your fixed deposit. Valuable FD, a symbol of stability.
Welcome back to the news. Starting off with your local news now. The National People's Power secured the power of the Alpitia Pradesh Sabha at the local government election held yesterday. The NPP won 15 out of the 17 electoral zones at the election yesterday.
5,643 eligible voters, a total of 36,825, cast their vote at the Alpitia Pradesh Sabha election yesterday. This was a turnout of 63%. 520 votes were rejected.
පිළිගත් පක්ෂ 8ක් හා එක් සාධීන කණ්ඩායමක් එල්පිටිය ප්‍රාදේශීය සභාව සඳහා තරඟ කරන ලද අතර ඡන්ද මධ්‍යස්ථාන 48කදී ඡන්දය ප්‍රකාශ කරන ලද අතර එම සියලුම ඡන්ද මධ්‍යස්ථානවලදී ඡන්ද ගණන් කිරීම සිදු කරන ලදී.
The National People's Power secured 17,295 votes, winning 15 seats in the Alpitia Pradesh Sabha. The Samagi Janabalavege won 2 electorates, securing 7,924 votes and won 6 seats. The Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna secured 3,597 votes and won 3 seats in the Alpitia Pradesh Sabha. The People's Alliance won 2 seats in the Alpitia Pradesh Sabha by securing 2,612 votes. An independent group won 2 seats in the Alpitia Pradesh Sabha by securing 2,568 votes. The People's United Freedom Alliance and the National People's Party each won 1 seat in the Alpitia Pradesh Sabha election, securing 1,350 votes and 521 votes respectively. What really happened at the Alpitia Pradesh Sabha election? Let's compare the results of the previous election held to appoint members of the Alpitia Pradesh Sabha and this election. All 17 electorates in the Alpitia Pradesh Sabha was won by the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna. However, in 2024, the SLPP did not manage to even secure victory in one of the electorates. They secured 3 seats at the Alpitia Pradesh Sabha through the second list. In 2019, the main opposition at the Alpitia Pradesh Sabha was the United National Front. The National People's Power that swept the election this year did not win a single electorate in 2019. The NPP only secured 2 seats at the Alpitia Pradesh Sabha through the second list. However, at the 2024 election, the National People's Power has increased their votes to secure victory in 15 of the 17 electorates of the Alpitia Pradesh Sabha. Meanwhile, a decision has been reached to inform political parties to submit the second list of the nominees for the Alpitia Pradesh Sabha. The Alpitia Pradesh Sabha consists of a total of 30 members. 17 of the members have been elected. The other 13 members will be nominated from the second list. After receiving the list containing 25% of female representation, the Gazette, including the names of the members of the Alpitia Pradesh Sabha, will be published.
Sri Lanka decides.
Former President Ranil Wickremesinghe says that his team is the group with experience who should be sent to Parliament. He expressed these views at the inaugural rally of the New Democratic Party.
You all know that when everyone was running away, the parliamentarian who took over as the Prime Minister and then the President of the country fulfilled his duty by building the country. Therefore, we have understood today that when parliamentarians are appointed, people who can accept such challenges should be appointed to the Parliament. We can see that Ranil Wickremesinghe will not be asking for the premiership or the position of opposition leader in the parliament. He will not be contesting to be a parliamentarian. But if these people fail to rule the country after March, the people will demand him to take over the presidency. So we have to prepare the team for that in parliament. The parliament should have a team with experience to take over the country. A group with the knowledge about the economy should be in parliament. There should be a clean team in the parliament with experience and knowledge of how to run a government. That group is here on this stage. Who came to Gampaha from the National People's Power? Can this district be developed like this? Can Kadawatha be developed? Can Biyagama be rebuilt? Who is out there who can do it? We have experienced people. That's why I say you should vote for the gas cylinder to send them to Parliament. President Anrukumar Dissanayake says that I am pinching them. How can I do that? I went to talk about it to the government sector employees because Minister Vijitha Herath pinched them. Now the President and Minister Vijitha Herath are saying that they will focus on increasing these salaries. These are useless. I say that a cabinet decision has been taken and it must be implemented. We are competing to form a government and take this forward.
Leader of the National People's Power, President Anrukumar Dissanayake emphasised that while this year's general election candidates may be newcomers to Parliament, they are far from inexperienced in the political arena.
The Gold District rally for the upcoming general election took place this afternoon, led by Leader of the National People's Power, President Anrukumar Dissanayake.
එදා කිව්වේ මොකද්ද? ජනාධිපති ධූරය කරන්න, රට පාලනය කරන්න අත්දැකීම් නේ. දැන් ආයේ ඒකම කියනවා. දැන් අද මීගමු පැත්තේ රැස්වීමක් තියලා එහෙම කියලා. පුරුදු අය එවන්නලු. මොනවට පුරුදු අයද? හොරකමට පුරුදු අය. ඒ විතරක් නෙවෙයි. නීතිය මුළුමනින්ම නොසලකා කටයුතු.
They once claimed I lacked the experience to lead a country as president. Now they're repeating the same narrative. Today in Negombo they spoke of selecting experienced leaders. But what kind of experience do they mean? Is it experience in theft and violating the law? We all know that a vehicle must be registered to drive legally. Yet we see unregistered vehicles without number plates imported from England found in their yards with no declared owner. Some worth millions. This is the experience they boast of. Experience in evading court, covering up theft and committing crimes. They only have experience in wrongdoing and people are tired of it. The former president has asked the people to choose experienced leaders, but their experience is only in negative practices. This time Parliament needs fresh faces. While our candidates may be new to Parliament, they are not new to politics. The Compass represents a team of politically experienced yet fresh faces. On the 14th of November, we must bring an end to this arena of political infighting by filling Parliament with representatives of the Compass. Many ask why wrongdoers remain concealed. Rest assured, we will expose them methodically. Numerous closed files are now open. Some await action at the Attorney General's office, others at the CID, and some remain untouched. These files will be opened at the appropriate time and proper procedures will be done. We have appointed officials capable of carrying out these necessary procedures. I understand your hopes for action against the corrupt and the desire to eliminate it altogether. The National People's Power government is committed to fulfilling that promise. We also plan to increase government sector employees' salaries in the upcoming budget. Remember, the NPP government will not waver until this country is rebuilt. To achieve that, we need a strong presence in Parliament, a significant power to establish a stable government where no one can hinder our efforts to implement effective plans for the nation. To build that government, you must decide to send the highest number of National People's Power candidates to Parliament on the 14th of November.
ජාතික ජන බලවේගයේ ආණ්ඩුව ආපහු හැරෙන්නේ නැහැ. මේ රට හදලා මිසක කියලා මතක තියාගන්න. අන්න ඒක සඳහා අපිට පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ ශක්තිමත් බලයක් අවශ්‍යයි. පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ හොඳ බලයක් ඕන. හෙල්ලෙන්නේ නැති ආණ්ඩුවක් හදාගන්න ඕන. රටට වැඩදායි වැඩ කරනකොට කකුලෙන් අදින්න දෙන්නේ නැති පාර්ලිමේන්තුවක් හදාගන්න ඕන. අන්නේ පාර්ලිමේන්තුව හදන්න නම් නොවැම්බර් මාසේ 14 වෙනිදා මාලිමාවෙන් වැඩිම පිරිස පාර්ලිමේන්තුවට යවන්න තීන්දුවක් ගන්න ඕන තමුන්නාන්සේලා.
Prime Minister Dr. Harini Amarasuriya says that the relationship between drugs, the underworld and politics has been ended.
One of the biggest threats is the issues caused by drugs. Not only drugs, the underworld which has been created to sustain the drug trade is also a huge problem for the entire country today. It has become the main threat for our national security. It was maintained by the politicians who were in power. The relationship between politics and drugs is what made the country unsafe and also threatened the lives of our children. Therefore, let's put an end to the political culture that sustained this underworld. None of us have anything to do with the underworld or drug dealers. Therefore, we have no problem in finding answers to these questions. We will surely do that. Don't have any doubt about it.
ඒ නිසා අපිට මේ ප්‍රශ්නයට ඍජුවම උත්තර හොයන්න අපිට කිසිම බාධාවක් නැහැ. ඒකත් අපි කරනවා. ඒක ගැන කිසිම සැකයක් තියාගන්න එපා.
The leader of the Samagi Janabala Vegya, Sajith Premadasa, says that the current government is incapable of ruling a country.
A meeting attended by the leader of Samagi Janabala Vegya, Sajith Premadasa, was held in Dehiwala.
අනුරකුමාර දිසානායක ජනාධිපතිතුමා ප්‍රමුඛ ජනතා විමුක්ති පෙරමුණ රජය අද පෙන්නලා දීලා තිබෙනවා.
The Janata Vimukti Peramuna government, led by President Anrukumar Dissanayake, has shown that they do not have the necessary skills, ability and talent to govern a country. The issue of malnutrition is escalating day by day, leading to a decline in the health of children and mothers. In the midst of this tragedy, the current government lacks solutions to support the people. If the country is unable to repay its debts by 2028, we could face another default. Even now, we are bankrupt since we cannot pay back our debt. In the next 4 years, it is crucial for our economy to accelerate and grow rapidly. In a sluggish backward economy, we cannot manage to repay our debts.
වේගෙන් ඉදිරියට යන්නට ඕන. වේගෙන් වර්ධනය වෙන්නට ඕන. මන්දගාමී පසුගාමී ආර්ථිකයක් තුල අපිට ණය ගෙවා ගන්නට බෑ.
They said they will bring investments. They said they will increase production, but no fundamental steps have been taken yet. They said that they will negotiate with the International Monetary Fund to amend the agreement. Have they done that? Taxes have not been reduced, nor has the agreement with the IMF been renegotiated. However, only one thing has been done. We can see that they are going after several individuals. Let's allow Anrukumara to catch the thieves. Let's give Sajith Premadasa to revive the economy. That's our theme for the 14th of November.
National organizer of the Sri Lanka Podujana Perumuna, Namal Rajapaksa, says that the current government has an opportunity to reform the education sector of the country in a manner that suits the modern day and age.
Namal Rajapaksa addressed a meeting held in Hambegamo in Monaragala today.
Today the government has a special opportunity to change the education system. The current president can sit down with his trade unions, student unions and transform the education system of the country where children in Bibila and Vallavaya in Monaragala can compete with the rest of the world. We as a party and a force in the political arena in this country, we are not only waiting and watching if these things can happen, but we are also reminding the government of the changes that should be made in the education sector.
Gammatha, building a brighter future for the children of Sri Lanka, one project at a time. 11 September 2024, providing water for 250 children of the Nikaputha Mahavidyalaya in Haldumulla, Badulla. 24th August 2024, a solution to a long-lasting issue, the lack of water, for 480 children of the Beralihala Junior College in Lunugambehera, Hambantota. 7th July 2024, a new library for the children of the Alutvatta Sri Gunananda Junior College in Udugama, Gaul. Gammatha takes the lead to ensure a healthy future generation for a better Sri Lanka.
For the people, by the people. Gammatha.
Welcome back to the news. Colombo district candidate of the United Democratic Voice, Ravi Kumudesh, says that certain groups are spreading misinformation regarding their party. He said that statements made by several individuals that money was distributed at the National Convention of the United Democratic Voice that was held at the Sukadadasa Stadium yesterday is completely false.
New organizers of the United Democratic Voice were appointed today. United Democratic Voice Colombo district candidate Ravi Kumudesh said that several factions who are against the party's rise are spreading misinformation about the party.
ඇත්තටම අපි අපේ සමුළුව සැලසුම් කරපු විදියට ඉතාම සාර්ථකව කරා. ඒ නිසා අපි ජනප්‍රිය වෙච්ච පක්ෂයක් විදියට අපිව අභියෝගයක් වෙච්ච අයට ඔබ අපි හොඳටම දන්නවා මේ වගේ ප්‍රවෘත්ති හදන්න පුළුවන්. නමුත් ඒ සිදුවීම අපේ පක්ෂයට අදාළ එකක් කියන කාරණාව කාට හරි පුළුවන් නම් තහවුරු කරන්න අපිට පුළුවන් ඒක සම්බන්ධයෙන් සිදුවීම විස්තර කරන්න. නමුත් දැනට අපි හොයලා බලලා තියෙනවා ඒක අපේ පක්ෂයට අදාළ තහවුරක් නෙවෙයි.
මේ හුදකලා සිදුවන කොහොමද වෙන්නේ? එහෙම දෙයක් වෙන්න පුළුවන්.
මේමයි අපේ පක්ෂය කිසිම විටක සල්ලි බෙදෙන පක්ෂයක් නෙවෙයි. සමහර විට සහභාගී වෙන අයට සංග්‍රහයක් කරනවා වෙන්න පුළුවන්. දැනට අපිට තියෙන තොරතුරු අනුව ඒ කියන පුද්ගලයා අපිට අදාළත් නැහැ. සල්ලි දෙනවා කියලා ආපු පුද්ගලයෝ අපිට අදාළත් නැහැ. ඔවුන් අපේ රැස්වීමට සහභාගී වෙලත් නැහැ. ඔවුන් අපේ පරිසරයට ඇතුල් වෙලත් නැහැ. මේ සියල්ල සිද්ධ වෙලා තියෙන එළියේ.
ඔබතුමා ඉවරනකන් හිටියලු. ඒ වුණාට ඔබතුමා දැකලා නැහැ නේ.
හරි. අපේ පරිසරය ඇතුළේවත් අපේ වැඩසටහන ඇතුළේවත් ඒකට ආපු මාධ්‍යවේදී අතින්වත් ඒක උනේ නැහැ. එතකොට මේක වෙනම වැඩසටහනක් වෙනම කවුරු හරි සංවිධානය කරපු එකක්. එතකොට ඒක අපිට අයිති නැහැ.
This was what transpired after the conclusion of the National Convention of the United Democratic Voice Party, led by Ranjan Ramanayaka. This is footage from outside of the Sugatadasa Stadium. The unrest began when the youth present there began to allege that the party had not paid them money as promised.
මේක රංජන රාමනාගේ මීටින් එක. හරි රංජන රාමනාගේ මීටින් එක. එයාගේ ක්‍රවුඩ් එක පෙන්නන්නේ සල්ලි වලට අපිව ගෙන්නුවේ. එයා ක්‍රවුඩ් එක පෙන්නන්නේ සල්ලි වලට අපිව ගෙන්නුවේ. එයාලා දැනගන්න ඕනේ සල්ලි වලට ගෙන්නවා නම් එයාලා හරියට අපිට සල්ලි දෙන්න දැනගන්න ඕනේ. කෝඩිනේටර් කියනවා එයා සල්ලි දානකම් ඉන්න කියලා. ඒ කියද්දි පොලිසියෙන් එයා අරන් ගියා. දැන් එයා අරන් ගියා අපි කොහොමද ගන්නේ සල්ලි? එයා දැනගන්න ඕනේ වැඩක් කරනවා නම් සල්ලි දීලා ඒ වැඩේ ඉවර කරලා දාන්න. අනිවාර්යයෙන් එයාලා කියනවා මේක නීතිමය ප්‍රශ්නයක් නෙමෙයි. කොහොමද යන්නේ? මේක ඡන්ද මීටි මන් නිසා නීතිමය ප්‍රශ්නයක් නෙමෙයි. එහෙනම් ඒක රංජන රාමනායකත් දැනගන්න ඕන. එයාලා හරියට කට්ටිය දැන් ඕගොල්ලෝ යුනිවර්සිටි එකේද? ඔව් අපි යුනිවර්සිටි. දැන් ඕගොල්ලෝ මොනවා කියලාද එක්කන් ආවේ? අපි එක්කන් ආවේ පාර්ට් ටයිම් ජොබ් එකක් තියෙනවා. මෙහෙම සල්ලි හම්බ වෙනවා. කෑම පැකට් එකක් හම්බ වෙනවා. එහෙම කියලා අපි එක්කන් ආවා. දැන් ඒ නියෝජනය කරපු එක්කනවද පොලිසියෙන් අරන් ගියා? එයා තමයි අපි කොහොමද? එයා අරන් ගියා. කොහොමද කරන්නේ? එයා තමයි රංජන රාමනායක කරා ගෙලිම කන්ටැක්ට් එක කරා සල්ලි ගන්න. අපේ වල සල්ලි දානවා. අපි කොහොමද ගන්නේ? කරා කෝඩිනේට් කරගන්න. ගෲප් එක කරා ඒ කොහොමද ඒ කට්ටිය අපි දන්නේ නැහැ. කොහේ ඉන්නවද අපි කොහොමද කරගන්නේ? මචං මොකද උනේ මචං ඇත්තටම? නෑ දැන් අපි ආව මේකට අපිට තිබුණා මේ පාර්ට් ටයිම් ජොබ් එකක් තියෙනවා කියලා අපිට එන්න කිව්වා. අපි ආව ඔක්කොම. ඊට පස්සේ ආවිල්ලා අපිට 2000 දෙන්නම් කිව්වා. 2000ම ගත්තා. මේ ඊට පස්සේ අනික් කට්ටියට දුන්නා. හරිද? දීලා ඊට පස්සේ සල්ලි ඉවරුණා. සල්ලි ඉවරුණාට පස්සේ කොහොම හරි අර මෙතන මේ කෝඩිනේට් කරපු කෙනාට උඩින් ඉන්න කෙනා සල්ලි දාන්නම් කිව්වා. ඒ දාන්නම් කියද්දි පොලිසියෙන් ඇවිල්ලා එයා අරන් ගියා. දැන් අපිට සල්ලි ගන්න දෙයක් නැහැ. කොහොමද ගන්නේ? දැන් ඕගොල්ලෝ කී දෙනෙක්ද ආවේ මෙතන? අපි ඇවිල්ලා දැන් මේකම 140ක් විතර 2000 ගාණක් හිටියා. 2000ක් විතර ඇවිල්ලා 2000 ගාණ නේ 5000 විතර දැම්මා. දාපු ඔක්කොම සල්ලි දුන්නා. සල්ලි තමයි කියන්නේ. දැන් මෙතන 100 ගාණක් ඉන්නවා සල්ලි හම්බෙච්ච නැති. හරිද? මේ ඉන්නේ සමග නම්බර් 6ක් හම්බෙච්ච නැති ගාම මෙතන ඉන්නේ.
Education Secretary of the Frontline Socialist Party, Pupudu Jayakodu, expressed these views at a public meeting in Theruniagala.
Look at what happened yesterday. They paid people to attend a party conference at the Sugatadasa Indoor Stadium. There were people queuing up to get on buses near the Mihindupura flats. They had offered 2,500 rupees to those attending the conference. After the conference, a tense situation arose. They had brought in a group of young people and promised them to pay 2,500 rupees. However, after the conference, the organizers escaped without paying them. They didn't even have enough money to return home by bus. Here, no one was paid to attend the event. Is there anyone here who was promised 1,000, 2,500 or 3,000 rupees? No, they are filling up the stadiums by paying people to attend, and in the end, they didn't even pay them. The police had to bring in CTB buses to take them home at the end of the day. Is this the kind of deceitful behavior you want the opposition to represent?
A batch of food being prepared to be distributed during a meeting organised to campaign for the upcoming parliamentary election was raided in Bandarawala today.
The Assistant District Returning Officer for Badulla had received a complaint that plans were afoot to distribute food at a meeting organised to campaign for the upcoming parliamentary election. The District Returning Officer had raided the hotel where the food was being prepared along with the police. The Assistant District Returning Officer for Badulla said that the manager of the hotel had informed him that the food was being prepared to be distributed at a meeting of the United Democratic Voice organised by Vadivel Suresh. The officers had taken steps to deliver the food to a home for the elders in the area.
Newsfirst with the people.
What happened to Sri Lanka? Here's yet another series of events that led to the collapse of Sri Lanka's economy.
What happened to Sri Lanka?
Rice is a staple food for a vast majority of the population in Sri Lanka. In a country where rice is included in all 3 meals of the day, there is no gainsay that paddy cultivation should be considered as a top priority. If the rice produced in Sri Lanka is sufficient to meet the demand, this would undoubtedly be a benefit for the people. However, several decisions taken by previous governments resulted in the complete destruction of the agriculture sector of the country. One of the main such inept decision was a decision to ban the import of chemical fertilizer overnight that led to the fertilizer crisis. But today, we are not going to talk about the fertilizer crisis. Today, we will be highlighting the tug-of-war between 2 ministers of the same government and what that power struggle did to 65,000 acres of farmland. Do you remember the Udawalawe farmers' crisis? This is a power struggle or a tug-of-war between 2 ministers that affected both the Hambantota district and the Monoragala district, which are 2 of the districts with a large number of paddy fields. The capacity of the Udawalawe reservoir is 217,440 acre-feet. This reservoir nourishes 25,000 hectares of paddy fields in the Ratnapura, Ambalipitia and Monoragala districts. Over 30,000 families directly depend on this reservoir for their livelihoods. With the sudden arid conditions that swept across the country during mid-2023, the water level of the Udawalawe reservoir had dropped significantly. The adverse results of this sudden drop in the water levels was suffered mostly by farmers in the south. The period during which the water level of the reservoir dropped coincided with the time period where the farmers in the south needed water to irrigate their paddy fields. The issue arose here when a decision was taken by the Cabinet of Ministers to prioritize the production of electricity and not to provide water to these paddy fields by the Samanala level of the Udawalawe reservoir. The Minister of Power and Energy at the time said that if water is provided to paddy fields, the supply of power in the southern province will have to be shut down. Although the then Minister of Irrigation stressed on the need for remaining water to be diverted to paddy fields for irrigation purposes, his voice was shut down. This tug-of-war directly affected the farmers. The paddy fields began to wither away due to the lack of sufficient water. This is where the farmers began their struggle. Farmers launched a satyagraha in Ambalipitia demanding for water to nourish their withering paddy fields. It was also revealed that the Department of Meteorology had informed authorities of the advent of the drought in advance, and questions were raised regarding the manner in which these authorities conducted themselves after being informed of the situation. This is a confirmation issued by the Director of Water Management Secretariat that water will be provided until the 20th of August 2023. This confirmation was issued while the Secretariat was fully aware of the impending drought, as they were informed about it by the Met Department. The farmers began their cultivations based on the representations made by officials who attend the Kanna meetings or seasonal meetings. The farmers pawned their jewelry and other belongings and began cultivating based on the assurance given by the Water Management Secretariat. This issue escalated as the government did not take a proper decision on this matter. This crisis resulted in the destruction of countless paddy fields in Ambalipitia, Hambantota, Angunakola Palassa and Suryavava. Do you remember that many paddy fields were abandoned and left for animals to feast on? the drought intensified. The water that was retained in the Samanala River was in the end found to be insufficient for neither the irrigation of paddy fields nor the production of water. This situation dealt a serious blow to the agricultural sector of Sri Lanka. After farmers agitated the matter by staging satyagrahas, within a month the cabinet revised their decision and allowed for water to be released from the Samanala River for irrigation purposes, subject to several conditions. A considerable portion of paddy fields were destroyed. Just imagine what the destruction of 65,000 acres of paddy fields would do to a country's capacity to produce rice. No one can say that this incident did not contribute to the rapid increase in the price of rice in Sri Lanka. Even today, the price of rice in the market is quite high. The people of Sri Lanka, who are already battered by the economic crisis, must now pay a high price to just purchase some rice. Is it just that the people were left to suffer like this due to the power struggle of two former ministers who only held office for a brief period? Should the people allow for incidents like this to happen in the future? The people are awake.
The power of the people.
The High Commission of Pakistan in Colombo organised a seminar and a photo exhibition to mark the Kashmir Black Day yesterday.
The annual commemoration of Kashmir Black Day, observed on the 27th of October by Pakistanis and Kashmiris around the world, was celebrated in Sri Lanka yesterday by the patronage of the High Commission of the Islamic Republic of Pakistan in Colombo. The event attracted a diverse audience, including members of the Pakistani community, journalists, writers and friends of Kashmir. The Kashmir Day messages from the President, Prime Minister and Foreign Minister of Pakistan were shared with attendees during the event.
The international legitimacy of Jammu and Kashmir dispute is enshrined in the UNSC resolutions, which are binding, in accordance with the relevant UNSC resolutions and wishes of the Kashmiri people. This is the only way forward for the durable peace and stability in the South Asia. In the end, I wish to further reiterate that Pakistan will stand shoulder to shoulder with its Kashmiri brethren until they realize their inalienable right to self-determination through free and impartial plebiscite under the auspices of United Nations as per the relevant UNSC resolutions.
The event served as a crucial reminder of the importance of raising awareness about the human rights situation in the region.
A book titled Capturing the Handicrafts of Sri Lanka, written by amateur photographers Inoka Dias and Mahesh Vanikasuriya, was launched yesterday in Colombo.
Capturing the Handicrafts of Sri Lanka features over 500 photographs that showcase 18 traditional crafts ranging from pottery to lace making. The event featured an engaging open discussion with the authors and the moderator, allowing attendees to understand the inspirations behind the book and the artisans' stories.
We've met over 40 artisans through our 5 years of this journey. The book itself is, the story is told through photographs, because we believe that photography is a brilliant way to communicate the essence of these artisans. And at the end of the book, you find our story. So what we say is the book is in the story and the story is in the book. Which describes our journey and some interesting facts about each of these crafts. It's not an academic publication, neither are we professional photographers, but it's a journey that we took through 5 years to showcase the brilliant work of Sri Lankan artisans and Sri Lankan handicrafts.
Beyond being a visual delight, the book is thoughtfully structured to narrate the stories of the Sri Lankan artisans behind each craft, highlighting their skills and cultural significance.
On to news overseas, voters today will choose who fills the 465-seat House of the Representatives of Japan in a nationwide snap election.
Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba's newly appointed administration faces a pivotal early test in the upcoming lower house election, called only 9 days into his leadership. The election is the first nationwide vote since a major slush fund scandal shook the ruling Liberal Democratic Party, or the LDP, straining public trust. If the ruling LDP loses its majority in the lower chamber, it will be for the first time in 15 years, as the Liberal Democratic Party has ruled Japan almost continuously since the party's founding in 1955. Polls opened across the country this morning, with all eyes focused on whether the ruling Liberal Democratic Party will be able to overcome severe headwinds and retain a stable majority in a tight lower house election. However, projections by Japan's national broadcaster NHK have shown Japan's ruling Liberal Democratic Party falling short of a majority for the first time since 2009 after snap elections today. The projections leave it unclear whether Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba's LDP will be able to achieve a parliamentary majority with its coalition partner, the Komeito Party. According to figures, the two coalition parties are set to win between 174 and 254 of the 465 seats in the lower house of the Japan's parliament, with 233 needed for a majority. The main opposition, Constitutional Democratic Party of Japan, is predicted to win 128 to 191 seats. If confirmed, the projections leave the makeup of the future government very uncertain, as Japan wrestles with economic setbacks and faces growing assertion from China. In Japan's previous general election in 2021, the LDP won a majority in its own right, with 259 seats in Parliament's lower house. Komeito had 32. The funding scandal involved millions of dollars in undocumented political funds and lawmakers allegedly lining their own pockets with kickbacks or failing to properly declare their income. Japan's former Prime Minister Fumio Kishida dismissed 4 members of his cabinet, and a series of arrests of parliamentary aides and accountants were made full scale of the scandal unfolded. However, voters in the world's 4th largest economy have continued to be dismayed by the fallout from the slush fund scandal and have been rankled by rising prices in the country. With Ishiba having set this threshold as his main objective, missing it would undermine his position in the LDP and could require the ruling party to find another coalition partners or lead a minority government.
And with that, we wrap up Primetime News for tonight. Thank you for watching. Good night.